Everybody, I'm Victoria Alvin from Kingspan Thermocraft. I run the technical team here at Kingspan Thermocraft, being General Manager for Building Technology and Technical Services. Today, we're going to talk about keeping construction moving with Covertek 407, our tried and tested underlay being used now as an early close system. We're just going to sit here for a moment because we've got people loading in, and those who have joined webinars before will know that it takes a little bit of time to get everybody in. But we are recording this webinar and it will be available you'll be sent out to all those that have registered, and it will be published on our web pages as well for those that want to watch it later. I've also got a section at the back where if you found that you had interest in this presentation and you want some more directive training in your merchant practice, your architectural practice, and your construction firm, we'll come and support you with hands-on training and show you how to build this system. So let me kick off today and talk about early close systems. Early close systems create a weather-tight layer for walls, allowing the internal fit-out to proceed before the cladding material is installed. Now, this reduces construction time and simplifies trade scheduling. The roof, the doors, the windows are all installed before the interior fit-out proceeds, so the underlay becomes a temporary external cladding or weather tightness layer, and the building can continue to dry through the vapor permeable underlay. It's an investment in speed and security, and with increased UV stability, we can stay weather tight for up to 4 months, and the building allows it to dry out as well, which is a great advantage. A normal construction timetable is 18 weeks. So reducing the timetable by a week might save the homeowner a week's rent, which could be $500 to $1,000 if they're renting elsewhere while their house is being built. But their perception of the builder finishing early and being efficient is absolute marketing gold, because many builders get their referrals through word of mouth. And if something else delays the project, the builder now has some extra time up his sleeve to play with. Renovations are stressful as homeowners often try to live in the house as it's rebuilt around them. So early close systems mean that they can be using and living in their newly fitted out rooms before the cladding's finished. That reduces the impact on family lives and makes the whole experience much more pleasant. Generally, a small builder with a fixed price contract will save approximately $1,000 per week of construction time. Save approximately $1,000 per week of construction time saved using an early close system. So their overheads are not as high as a larger builder. So that's mainly based on an ability to improve the profit on each project and increase the amount of houses built in a year. A small builder typically would build about 3 houses per year, but there's also a significant advantage in simplifying their scheduling and sub-trade management, which for a small builder who's trying to do everything can be a really, really great stress reduction. For the larger builders building 90 houses per annum or more, they might save $1,600 per week, of which $1,100 is overhead cost and $500 is the extra profit from additional houses being built per year spread over all the houses built in the year. Now, typically, a larger builder might be carrying $21,000 of overheads on each home that they build. A speculative builder can also be a larger builder or a smaller builder. Now, they have bigger savings than builders using progress payment contracts, as they carry both the land holding costs as well as the borrowings or the cost of money for construction costs. Reducing the construction timetable reduces the cost of the money they use to build with. They can finish their developments earlier, move on, get them sold, and get the money back in the bank. So that's a really great cash flow utilization for a speculative builder. So you might be saying, where am I getting these numbers from? Well, I'm relying on the brand study that was done on the cost benefits of early close systems for both large, small, and speculative builders, and they included comments from a home owner's perspective. So 1 week time saving in a typical 18-week construction period is 6%. So if they just save 1 week per year, 1 week per house, they're saving 6% or managing to build 6% more houses in the year. But brands also included some cash flow tables, and I'd like to talk about these because these are really interesting about ways that you can quite simply increase your profit or margin in the buildings by simply changing the way you install Covertek 407. So instead of installing it as a regular wall underlay, you'll follow our installation guidelines and install as an early close system. It's very simple. So one of the key factors that we look at here is, of course, the cost of interest on borrowings to fund the project and land holding costs. Now, a large builder, Brand said, building a base case of 87 houses per year, if they save 1 week construction time per house, Brands projected that they would save as a business $151,000 in the year. That's just 1 week of construction. In conversation with our builders, we're finding that they are typically saving 2 weeks to 4 weeks construction timetable. So their savings is somewhere between 151,000, 347,000 for 2 weeks, right up to just under 800,000 savings if they were able to reduce that construction timetable by 4 weeks on each of those 87 houses they build in a year. Now, saving almost 800,000 just by installing your underlay slightly different is a really great advantage. And of course, they can then simplify trades and so on. The amount of time that someone saves depends on many factors, one of which is being able to schedule those trades and get them in, but it reduces the reliance on weather, which otherwise might affect some of those other fit outs. A small builder might be building 3 houses per year. So if they were to save 1 week, for each of those 3 houses, their savings would be 3,100. But if they were able to save 4 weeks for each of those houses, their savings would be 17,000. So again, some really good profit increase for builders when they're using early close systems, a way to gain back margin in a very tight market. An early close system can also be used as temporary weather protection. Progress payments can be brought forward by enabling that earlier weather tight stage. It will depend on the program and contract terms, but it can be useful to improve cash flow in a building. So Covertek 407 has had some changes. We've increased the UV exposure for roof and wall, and that came in market from our new code mark date of the 24th of February 2026. Our UV exposure for Covertek 407 as a roof underlay is now up to 30 days before the roof goes on. So a significant increase from the 7 days that we originally marketed. Those that have seen me talk before last year will know that we had an extensive project about improving our UV performance for our products. And as Covertek 407 is our lead product, I'm delighted to say that the stock you hold now will have that extended UV exposure. So it's great to be able to talk about extending and increasing your flexibility in build. So up to 30 days UV exposure for a roof, and our compliance pathway is still code mark and brands. For a wall underlay, a standard wall underlay, not early close, we have 120 days UV exposure. That's 4 months. So that's a month above our Watergate Plus, which is 90 days. And we have code mark and brands appraised. It's still the same product. It's still the heavyweight underlay that you love at 220 GSM, giving us strong tensile strength and edge tear resistance. It's still fire retardant, and it's still used up to very high wind zones in NZS 3604. With the early close system, the difference is that we need to follow the installation methodology outlined in our early close supplementary documents, which are now available online, and I'll show you a link to that later. The compliance pathway for early close is code mark, and we have a certificate of installation that you'll be completing to show compliance for code mark. So you can continue with an early close system and then continue your internal fit out, and you have 120 days to put the cladding on. Covertek 407 is cost effective and offers the edge tear resistance and tensile strength that makes it one of New Zealand's most popular underlays. It's more than 30 GSM, grams per square metre, heavier than its nearest competitor. And for an early close system, the ability to withstand wind and rain for up to 4 months is key to success. The new 2740mm wide roll means that the walls can be wrapped with no laps. So we're wrapping in a horizontal fashion with no laps. Of course, the roof and wall underlays are the same product. So one of the key advantages for Covertek 407 is that you can specify or buy the same product for the roof as you do for the walls. You can use it as a roof underlay and an early close, and we have that convenient wide roll, making it faster to roof or to wrap the walls without any laps. You can print it with a customized print. So 4 months of branding for your construction firm, your development company, your aged care facility, or even as a merchant. So it's easy to customize print as well. Let's have a look at some of the competitor products that we've analysed in market, because there are other early close systems out of market. Covertek 407 is very, very competitively priced against the competition products. The only early close system that is cheaper is more than 80 GSM lighter. Now, those that remember us talking last year said that the strength of product has a great effect on its ability to withstand UV as well. So Covertek 407 is a very strong product, 223 GSM against 140 for the only product that was less cost than us in market. It has a extended UV. So we're 120 days UV exposure, 4 months, versus the cheaper product at 90. And we have vastly increased edge tear resistance and tensile strength over that cheaper product. So you can really see why that product is sitting at that price point. And it really makes you look at the confidence you might have in the early close system that's protecting your internal fit out. Now, even the competitor that offers 1 month more UV has significantly less edge tear resistance. That's that second line saying early close 1, and it's not fire retardant. The other thing I draw your attention to is that we still have our standard 15-year warranty for thermocraft for manufacturing defects. When I examined the competitor products in market, I found that the cheapest competitor didn't even publish warranty data. So it's very difficult to understand what recourse you might have should that system fail. The mid-price competitor, one of them actually publishes a diminishing return on their warranty. So it might be 15 years, but when you get closer to the end of the warranty period, they're actually not backing their product because they're offering a diminishing return. So it's all very interesting when you start looking at the different products in market. So let's remind ourselves, what actually is the purpose of the underlay in relation to weather tightness and moisture? Well, the underlay, the wall underlay in this instance, allows the timber to continue drying and to release internal water vapor. Now, that's critical during construction because we have concrete drying, wet timber, plaster, and paint, especially as we're doing our internal fit out, all contributing to moisture with the build. So we have an opportunity for that moisture to pass through our vapor permeable underlay. But it's also an air barrier. So if you like, it's not a rigid air barrier, it's a flexible air barrier. So it's a way to create an air barrier at less cost than a rigid air barrier. It protects the insulation, it assists in managing air pressure and wind wash. As a barrier to water, any water in the drained cavity cannot pass through the underlay into the interior linings. The underlay is also able to temporarily absorb condensation, preventing it from soaking into the structure of the interior lining materials. So the underlay is going to hold out the water that is on it just in the everyday. And I can hear the rain on me now in Auckland as I talk here. So in this instance, if it was a raining day, the underlay would act as its exterior cladding, holding out water and preventing it from passing through to those internal materials. How can it be a water vapor permeable, but an air barrier and hold out water? How do we get that? It comes down to the difference in the groups of molecules in liquid water and the molecules in water vapor and air. They are all different sizes. The smallest one is a water vapor molecule, so that can pass through the underlay. Then we have a water molecule is larger, that it can't pass through, and an air molecule is the largest, it definitely can't pass through. Now, because Covertek 407 is manufactured here in New Zealand, in Otara, at our plant, we actually have our own testing laboratory as well. So every product that we manufacture goes through our testing laboratory for the series of tests we need to complete. Now, one of these is the head of water test, which is to standard New Zealand standard 2295. That test proves that that underlay is going to hold out the water. Now, for a wall underlay, it needs to hold out a column of water that's 20 millimeters high. We dye that water and put a piece of underlay out of each batch under that. And if any marks show through on that underlay, we simply discard that underlay batch into our recycling facility with SaveBoard. For those of you that remember, all our manufacturing waste here at Thermocraft and your construction waste on site for our synthetic absorbent underlays, our Covertek range, can go back to SaveBoard and be recycled into better brace or acoustic boards and so on, which gives us a full circularity for our products, but reduces your waste on site and our waste during construction, during manufacturing as well. So what I'd like to talk about now is I'd like to talk about the key differences between installing Covertek 407 as a standard wall underlay and installing it as an early close system, because that's actually the key of getting this weather tightness layer that we will need. At a high level, let's talk about an early close installation principles. Firstly, we're going to install Covertek 407 wall underlay horizontally without any laps, with our laps shiplapped, so like a weatherboard, and they're going to be taped on the joint. That gives us air tightness and weather protection against the wind. The underlay is going to be taut. If you need strapping to prevent the insulation from bulging into the drained cavity, you can do that, and you'll be fixing that just like the underlay with a capped nail for a timber frame or a capped screw for a steel frame. We're not using staples in our system because the wind resistance and pull-out resistance for a staple, even a capped staple, is vastly different or less than that of a capped nail or capped screw. So we're out there in the wild for 4 months with our early close system. We want the best hold-out performance, and we feel confident with the capped nails or the capped screws. I'm going to talk about those in a bit more detail. The cavity battens go on as soon as possible, and we have listed proprietary products to be used in this system. Thermoflash window tape, premium joining tape, penetrations are sealed with our one seal or with tape, and I'm going to talk more about that as well. An early close system is checked daily during construction. Any repairs or any damage is to be repaired immediately. And for code mark compliance, we have the early close certificate of installation, and that gets sent back to us here at Kingspan, and we record that for you. So let's have a quick look at some of these fixings. Now, the key factor for the early close system is ensuring the wall underlay is secured well to the frame. Now, we use the cap nail faster for timber and the screw for weather tightness, the screw for steel framing. But we do have two guns that you can use. Now, those in the market that have already been installing early close systems might be familiar with the Stinger gun. It's got green caps to it. It's a USA manufactured gun. And we're also able to use the Delfast gun. Now, the Delfast gun has some key advantages. It has its own caps. They're interchangeable with the Stinger gun. So the Stinger caps can be used in a Delfast gun. The Delfast caps can be used in a Stinger gun. So there's no barrier to starting with this. One of the exciting things about those that are new to an early close system is that the Delfast gun, available through Connect and building merchants nationwide, is actually approximately half the price of the Stinger gun. The Delfast gun and caps are made in Taiwan. It is the same company. They've just found a different source of product. And the Stinger caps are made in the USA. So Delfast, the gun is approximately half the price, and the caps are about $150 for 2,000 caps, which would cover your standard house. So you can still use the Delfast caps in your Stinger gun. If you need a new gun, you can buy the Delfast gun and have a really cost-effective entry to market. The capped fixings are installed at a maximum of 300 centres. You can make them less than that, but they need to be 300 centres maximum. For horizontal cladding, we're going to put the battens on vertically on the stud lines, and then the cap nails will go on the nogs. The batten itself becomes a fixing. The vertical cladding, we install the battens horizontally on the nogs, and the cap nails go on the stud lines. And make sure that those battens are well clear of any capped nails, because a cap nail just might skew the batten and then change how your cladding installs. Again, we are not using any staples on the exterior face of our Covertek 407 system. Only the capped products, which give us weather tightness and wind pull out, and cap nails and screws, not cap staples. So ensuring that the gun is perpendicular to the underlay and tested to ensure that the pressure and application of the cap nail is correct is really wise before you mass fasten. On the left-hand side, now we've included this in the supplementary literature, you've got a couple of images of what a good cap nail looks like. You can see the nails nicely secured within that cap. On the right-hand side, these are cap nail installation, which could cause some issues for your early close system. We've got an angled nail, which creates poor seal compression. We need to just check that the gun has been installed perpendicular to the frame. An oven-driven nail can deform the cap, and an under-driven nail can create a point of water ingress. So check your installation, make sure that they're going in okay before you carry on. Thermoflash tape has been updated to meet the installation needs of both installers and the sustainability needs for business. The new translucent tape makes it simple to accurately align, as you can see through the tape as you're installing it. The split liner paper release backer is easily recycled as paper waste and no longer has that irritating static cling that the synthetic liner used to have. It's compatible with most wet sealants, giving us versatility in market, and can be installed to a low temperature of -10 degrees Celsius. This is why we've chosen Thermoflash Brands Appraised tape as our component in the early close system and not Aluband for more flexibility in terms of sealants and application temperature. We install with a butterfly tape in the lower corner. If you think about it in terms of the direction of water flow, the butterfly goes under the sill tape in the lower corner, so the water flows over that particular corner, and on the top, that butterfly tape goes over the sill flashing, again providing a direction of water lay. Alternatively, an orange corner mold could be used to protect those lower corners. Now, an early close system, in terms of its nail sealability, is really vulnerable on the sill tape. And I want to talk about this because not many people understand the nail sealability test that's used to demonstrate the weather tightness of these products. And I want to show the confidence that we can have in Covertek 407 early close system due to the brands testing that we've done for Thermoflash. So many tapes in New Zealand, they're tested to AAMA 711. Now that's an American standard that requires a water holdout above the tape of 31 millimeters for 1 day. It's a pretty simple test to achieve, and that means that you can just normally get away with a single layer of tape on that windowsill. However, in an early close, we've fitted out all the interior linings and the materials. We want confidence in that system, and we want confidence over the 4 months and whatever the weather event is that's going on. So we tested using brands testing to section 7.10 of ASTM D 1970. That test resists a head of water test of 127 millimeters for 3 days, and that tape has 180 days UV exposure. So we have 4 times the water depth and 3 times the test duration, giving us the confidence that we want for the componentry in our early close system. We also looked at some of the other detailing. We looked at the second layer of underlay over the head flashing, as outlined in E2, that provides a higher level of protection over the head flashing than the alternative E2 method of securing the head flashing with a layer of tape. So the difference between a standard underlay would be that for an early close, we're going to use a second layer over the head flashing, extend it 150 mils past the head flashing, secure that piece with capped nails, and tape all around it using Thermoflash or premium joining tape to get a good, solid secure that isn't going to get buffeted by the wind and rain. We're also very concerned about creating weather-tight seals around penetrations because that's critical for the early close system. These can be a point of water ingress. Using the 2 millimeter brands appraised EPDM seal, that is one seal, we have a self-adhesive seal that can be directly affixed to the flexible underlay, to the Covertek 407. No other tapes, no other adhesives are required, reducing labor and material costs. And this is a multi-use product. You can see there on the screen, it will fit different cable sizes, it'll fit different pipe sizes. So it's very easy to use the same product around the whole project. Now, we do understand at times you're going to find that you've got a penetration that's beyond the capability of this product. There are other EPDM seals that can be used, or you can tape the joins with premium joining tape or Thermoflash, tape the penetration. That will require confidence in your application of the tape, and we would advise that you check that penetration daily to make sure that the tape is not peeling away or creating any point of ingress that could be a risk to the system. The one seal eliminates a lot of that risk. An early close system can act as a safety net for a construction timetable, de-risking the reliance on cladding contractors, as internal substrates, of course, can proceed with insulating, painting, and stopping before the cladding is installed, the external cladding. It removes that waterfall nature of a construction project, making it far more agile and responsive. It can provide much greater certainty around completion timetables and eliminate some of the issues that we have around weather delays, especially as I listen to the rain around me today. So when we looked at brick veneer, One of the points that can be difficult is how to secure the brick tie penetration that's going through and making sure that this is not a point where capillary action of water might bring water through that system and damage what is likely to be a fully completed interior fit out. We can't guarantee what type of brick tie is specified, and some of them don't have EPDM washers, nor do they have neoprene washers. So we considered that creating a 75 by 75 piece of thermoflash or premium joining tape secured well over that brick tie fastener and to the Covertek 407 creates a flashing type, protecting that penetration from any capillary action coming through the underlay and potentially damaging the interior. In our conversation with brick installers, they felt this to be very simple and easy to do. And of course, it's cost effective to add that extra level of protection at this stage. Another key installation difference from a standard underlay is sealing the junctions between different wall types. So the junctions between walls within the Covertek Furrow system are going to be sealed with a construction adhesive, and then they're going to be taped with either thermoflash or premium joining tape to hold them tight. This actually prevents, if you imagine an internal corner, if you just taped it, you would have a gap here where the underlay would want to round on that internal corner. So using the construction adhesive means we get a nice tight corner fit and then held securely with the tape, and there can be no buffeting of wind or uplifting and so on, creating a weather-tight system. The same when we're joining to a mid-floor junction and onto the slab edge where we're going to overhang that bottom plate by 50 millimeters, securing with construction adhesive. Of course, on a suspended timber floor, we'll be securing that with cap nails or cap screws should it be a steel-framed building. So our listings are up and ready on our website. You can see here we're quite clearly separated out the Covertek 407 early close, and you can see there the code mark certificate listed there as our compliance pathway. And for the Covertek 407 used as a roof or wall underlay in a standard application, we have code mark and brands. You'll see that the installation guides are different there. But one of the key things that you'll look for is that early close certificate of installation. That's our compliance pathway for CodeMark. It's a very simple document to fill out. Either you can do it in a hard copy form, it's on the supplementary guide and the website, or there's a QR code there if you'd like to do it online, and then we will email you back a confirmation of receipt of the certificate of installation. It comes back to us at info@kingspaninsulation.co.nz, and you can file a copy in your client handover folder. Now, in our discussions with Council, we're getting an indication from the BCAs that they're feeling it's going to be very likely they want a copy of this submitted with the pre-cladding inspection appointment request. But this is your compliance certificate for both the homeowner and council, and should you require any warranty or performance discussions, this is the base document that helps you support that. So that comes back to us at info@kingspaninsulation.co.nz. We also have updated the back of the label. You may want to record the batch numbers as listed in that certificate of installation. The batch numbers are either on the label, as you see on the left, they're printed on the edge of the roll, and the back of the label has a simple checklist to enable the installer to be able to go, did I actually do this right? Have I covered the steps? And you can always fill that out and add one of those to your compliance folder if you'd like to as well. So that's on the back of every label with Covertek 407. So to conclude today, you can bank the savings with Covertek 407. The underlay that you've been used to using for roof and wall now has a further value add to be used as an early close system by following the simple installation guidelines, meaning that you can specify one product for the entire project and really bank some serious savings. You can significantly reduce build time, improving schedule efficiency and reducing the impact of weather delays. It gives you confidence because we know 407, we know it's one of the highest performing products in market, enabling faster internal fit out and longer UV resistance, 120 days for wall for UV as an early close system or as a standard wall underlay. It carries many of the benefits of a rigid air barrier, but of course it's a lower cost than a rigid air barrier. It's backed by both our Thermocraft in-house laboratory testing as a manufacturer right here in New Zealand, but also by brands testing for many of the components. And the overall system has code mark compliance. For a builder, this is a way that you can increase your profit potential and give flexibility in your build and reduce some of those scheduling headaches simply by following a new installation method. And for the homeowners, the experience of early occupancy, reduced rent costs and accommodation costs are really bankable. Now, you may want to know more. And so what we've done is this QR code here, and it will be followed up in the email following this presentation, will give you a form that you can ask us to come and talk to your architectural practice, your building merchant, your builder, whoever. We will send out the appropriate person in our team to come and talk to that person. Of course, you may just have a question on the day, and technical@kingspaninsulation.co.nz is my team. We're able to be reached on both email, or you can just pick up the phone and call us on 0800 806 595. That's the end of our presentation today in terms of me talking, but we do have Q&A. Dan Marshall, who's part of the technical team, is with us for Q&A, and we'll take your questions if you like for any chat or questions you may have on the system. Dan, have we got anything there that we might need to talk about?
Hi, Victoria. Thanks very much. That was a fantastic presentation, and your timing was spot on. Unfortunately, yeah, no questions have come through at this point, but just a reminder, as you just said, the technical line's always available. We're here waiting if you've got any questions for us.
One of the questions that we did get with this week was somebody calling to say, hey, that 2740 mil roll, can I put that on a roof? Absolutely, yes, you can. If your roof installation application is a lined building, Covertek 407 is ideal for that, and you may find that that wider roll makes it a faster installation for you. Of course, when it's used as an early close system, the advantage of that 2740 mil roll, that new roll within our product family, means that you can wrap that whole wall without any lapse whatsoever, again, reducing any potential risk. But if you had smaller roll sizes, and perhaps you've got a small building and you don't want to buy a 2740 mil wide, or your building shorter, you can use roof underlay and lap those joins. Remember, it's ship lapped horizontally and you tape the joins. So you've got a lot of versatility between roof and wall underlay, again, reducing your cost of product on site.
Hi, Victoria. One
Yep.
question has just popped up.
Is there a hand-driven nail or screw cap system instead of using a gun? Yes, you can. You can buy the caps without needing to use a gun. And so you put the cap and then hammer through for a nail or screw through, especially for steel framing. There isn't a gun for steel framing with the screw. So you just use the cap to add, if you like, as a washer, if you like, and a bit of weather tightness, and then you can hand install. But the gun, if you're going to do more than one build in an early close system, it's $750 for a Delfast gun or thereabouts across Connect and the merchants. It's going to save you a lot of labor and a lot of time and be a lot faster to install. Vapor permeability, Benjamin, because I don't have a data sheet up on front of me at the moment, it will be on our literature. We will respond to that question directly to you. We'll get your email address off the registration and respond to that. So any questions such as absolute specifics about the product, the technical team will always answer those for you and give you some of our test results and so on, so you can be confident in what the system is going to do. That looks like us here. Okay, I want to say thank you very much to everybody. Thanks to Dan and for our marketing team for setting this up. If you'd like to learn more and be specific about the training, do scan that QR code. We'll come out and we'll talk to you about it specifically to make sure you understand how to install an early close system and get the best advantages in the system. Thanks once again for your time today. We'll look forward to seeing you for our next webinar, which I think is coming up on condensation early next month or later this month. Thanks, everybody. See you.